Oh my God, he's live on YouTube. I've been neglecting YouTube because YouTube's been neglectful of their peeps. I'm trying to get my chats up here, live chats. We didn't do no notification. We'll see if anyone's getting notifications from Dad with the phone, because if we don't get nobody to join, we'll go back to Facebook. So we'll see. Can we not get live chats? Oh, we just can't get any viewers. I see how it is. Oh, we got one viewer. Who's the first one here today, I wonder? Live chat on a Saturday morning. Skinny wife, sliding behind. Sliding behind. They saw you in the window. Ginger Locks is here. Oh, now we got a couple people. Notifications must be going out. Can y'all hear me all right? Everything good? Y'all got good volume? She's gonna try to pull my hair again. I didn't break. You broke your bubble machine. You broke it. You pulled the hose. I didn't.
Why are you taking over the whole porch?
Oh, Miss Underground's out watering the plants today. We're gonna recap Friday's court and a couple other things that happened over the week. And it's a beautiful day in Woodland Park for sure. I tried to go live from YouTube while we were in the Teller County Jail, but YouTube was not acting right. So we were live on Facebook. So if you missed our night in jail, you need to go back and look at that on Facebook. There's lots of videos up on the Facebook from the night in jail. If you missed updates from the court, you can go check out those live videos there. But today I'm just going to recap kind of what happened last week with Patrick in court. Ginger Lock says, I watched all night. I'm feeling better now that I got some sleep. I crashed yesterday, but it was good because my older kids were at summer camp all week, so they crashed as well. Yeah, I was gonna do a recap yesterday on Facebook, but I fell asleep. So Thursday, Patrick was in court for a custody battle against Aaron Frazee, the Barrett family, Omar. So there's this ongoing custody battle for Kaylee. Now, we believe the reason why Aaron and Patrick and Omar continue to try to get custody of Kaylee is the same reason Patrick and Omar and KK and Sean all conspired to commit the murder of Kelsey, because Kaylee is the benefactor of Mr. Frazee, Patrick's dad. And so, since she's the benefactor, whoever has custody of Kaylee will, in a sense, have custody of those finances. So there's this ongoing custody battle that'll continue throughout the next year up until either Patrick Frazee is found guilty, innocent, or whatever, And so it'll be a monthly or a bi-monthly deal. It's just an ongoing process. So, boom. Yes, Mary Jo, it's a sad deal when they're fighting over Kaylee. It's weird because you think about it. It is a weird situation. Where the hell is Shauna? And the first question. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sean is keeping his distance because he's already kept his name out of the stuff. Like, first of all, Sean was with Patrick on Thanksgiving, 100% guarantee. Sean helped Patrick avoid police up until December 4th. December 4th. That you have to understand, Patrick didn't connect face to face with police officers until December 4th. And he was with Sean Frazee all this time. So why Sean hasn't been questioned, why Sean hasn't been arrested, why Sean isn't being investigated in the murder of Kelsey Barrett when Patrick was with Sean, when he turned in the phone, when they made a wellness check on Kaylee. So this is where is Sean is a very good question. What happened in court on Friday was a motion hearing of consumptive testing. We found out for the very first time that the consumptive testing was from a very, very small fragment that could possibly be a tooth or a piece of a tooth. This isn't a whole tooth. You remember you guys said they found 5 teeth? Or not me, you guys, but remember when they said they found 5 teeth? This is a fragment of a tooth. Whether or not it was included in that first initial warrant affidavit as part of those 5 teeth, we don't know. Those 5 teeth could be something totally different than what we are calling or what the state is calling a fragment of a tooth. Now, how big's a fragment? Who knows? I don't know if a fragment of a tooth is like the size of it could be anything, right? This could be a fragment of a tooth, right? It's not, it's a piece of wood. This could be a fragment of a tooth. We don't know, but we know this, that whatever the fragment is, however small the fragment is, that CBI's initial analysis says when we test this, there is a possibility that, oh crap. Oh, my phone's gonna die if I don't get a charger. Oh, I thought my battery had been charging all night. Oh, maybe that's why. Let's try it. Am I going to be pissed about that? I'm going to be super pissed about that. I am pretty pissed about that right now. Anyway, I just realized my phone's going to die here in a little bit if I don't get a charger on it. So, fragment of a tooth. We know that whatever size that fragment is, that CBI's initial analysis of it, just the initial analysis, has said if we test this, we may not be able to retest it. CBI witness Rogers, a science forensic expert witness, was on the phone in the courtroom. I was sitting on the second row. Hey, props to Teller County. One thing Patrick Frazee has done is made them update the 1904 courthouse, and they put a brand new sound system in the courtroom where you can hear everything from everybody. Thank you, Teller County. Thank you for spending some money and making sure the public is informed. Thank you for constitutionally upgrading your courthouse. So we could hear everything during the courtroom. So they even got it where people can phone in. I thought maybe KK was going to phone in. No, it was the cops, and I knew it was the cops. You can check the Twitter. Before court even started, they said a witness was going to phone in, and I was like, well, the only kind of witnesses they let phone in really are cops. And so we knew there was a cop that was going to phone in. The cop phones in and says the fragment of tooth, the initial analysis of the fragment of tooth is small enough for us to say that when we test this, we may not be able to get that 50-50. She explained to us what they like to do is like a split testing, a split sample. And they like to take whatever they have as a sample, they like to split it and put that other sample side apart because they want to make sure they have a backup, right? And so when she was talking, she said this initial sample size is not big enough to split. What we may be able to do, though, is what we do is we extract the DNA evidence. And when we extract the DNA extract, she might have gave it a fancy name, but when they extract the DNA extract, then they will then split that DNA extract if they have enough, and they will give a portion of that to the defense. It's not actually a piece of the chipped tooth. It's not actually a piece of the evidence. It's the DNA extract that they got from the piece of evidence. So at that point, because that whole thing could be consumed up in that testing, right? It's not 100% that it's going to be complete consumptive testing. It is just their initial analysis of the piece of evidence they want to test. And so this is why they had to go through this motion of consumptive testing. Now, the defense put in some very weird objections. They objected to they were objecting to the policies of the CBI. They weren't objecting to the consumptive testing. I want to make that clear because the defense made this very clear in court. They were not trying to stop the consumptive testing. They were objecting to the CBI policies surrounding witnesses or expert witnesses to observe the consumptive testing. CBI has a policy that anyone who enters their lab must first go through a background check and they must give up a buccal swab. A buccal swab is when they swab your mouth for your DNA. This makes total freaking sense even to the lame person, right? Even to the lame person, even to the lay person, this makes total sense. Hey, wait a minute. I got 52 people watching, but I only have 8 likes. Hey, if a woman comes up behind you with freaking yard clippers, be very, very careful. Oh, why can't I get 53 likes? I can understand, like, there we go. Now y'all are liking that.
You're welcome.
All right. She probably helped me with my likes right then. A buccal swab is when they swab your mouth. When they swab your mouth and they get that DNA, right? And so it makes total sense that if you're going in, oh shit, I gotta go get a battery, kids. Not a battery, I gotta go get a charger. Just sit. I'm back. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Wait. There we go. Let's make sure this is working here. We're back. We're live. We got 26 likes. Gave y'all enough time to go give me some likes. That's what I'm talking about. All right, where was I? Buccal swab. Buccal swab, buccal swab, buccal swab. Total sense. It's freaking, it's like a no-brainer, okay? First of all, the objection was, listen, background check, yes, for an expert witness. A DNA collection from our expert witness. If your expert witness was going into a fingerprint analysis, if your expert witness was observing a handwriting expert, if your expert witness was observing an interrogation, an investigation, if your expert witness is observing the collection of DNA evidence. Of course, we need a sample of your expert witness's DNA, because if your expert witness is a little ashy, if you get a little ashy expert witness, their DNA may be contaminant in the DNA evidence. So they need to rule out your expert witness. Okay? This is total sense. The defense objected and they said, well, let's do this. Let's wait until after the test. And if the test comes back contaminated, then you can take a sample of the DNA of our expert witness. The cop said, or the judge said, forget that. We're not changing the practices of the CBI. The CBI is a law enforcement agency that, for all intensive purposes, is the highest investigative law enforcement agency inside the state of Colorado. They're called in. This is why they have these labs. This is why this is what they do for a living. And so the judge was very clear, I'm not going to change the policies about DNA testing in the CBI lab. That's ridiculous. Please don't ask me again. He didn't really say that, but his eyes said that. The other objection was that the expert witness can be present all the way through testing, except so they can watch the item be prepared for testing, the evidence item. They can watch the DNA extracted from the evidence item. But at the point when they get the DNA extracted, if there is enough DNA that they can split the DNA extract and give one purpose to the expert witness or the defense, and then one purpose for CBI to test for the state. At the point that they split the DNA extract and then they give that portion of DNA extract to, or if they have enough DNA extract and they give that to the defense, at that point, the observation of the expert witness is now not allowed via policy of the CBI. In other words, once they get the DNA extract, if there is enough to split it and have two samples, then the expert witness will not be able to view the remaining tests running forward on the DNA extract. If in fact there's not enough DNA extract to split and give some to the defense and some to the state, if there's not enough to split, then the expert witness will be able to view the continued testing of the DNA. The judge was like, the state said, well, we want to view the testing all the way through the process, even if there's enough DNA to extract. And again, the judge said, listen, I'm not going to change or rule against the policies of the CBI. So objection overruled. No DNA test. The consumptive testing is going forward. The judge finally ruled consumptive test is going forward. The defense has 10 days or 2 weeks, 14 days, 10 days. I think they said 10 days to give the state their expert witness's name. And so then at that point, the state will coordinate with the expert witness to do the consumptive testing where he can observe it or she can observe it. We did find out through not necessarily testimony or anything special that the state has already tested some evidence. We already knew this because in the pretrial they said they found an unknown DNA male unknown male DNA inside Kelsey's house, mixed in the bathroom with maybe some of Kelsey's DNA. That could have been blood from Kelsey. It could have been different things. But what we did find out is they've been running tests. The only test that has been held up is this actual piece of chipped tooth. Maybe, possibly. They didn't even say it was guaranteed a piece of tooth. They said it was a possible piece of tooth. Again, that could be something as large as this little pebble here, which if it was as large as this little pebble, it's almost the size of a tooth. They may be able to tell it's a tooth. But if it was let's say it was a little smaller pebble, and they had to keep dividing it, cutting it, even it gets smaller and smaller. Nobody knows if it's a tooth yet. We have to test to see if it's a tooth, then the DNA. So it was a real confusing thing. One thing I want to bring up about this is that this piece of tooth, chipped maybe a tooth, this fits into the narrative that Crystal Lee Kinney has given police, or police have gotten from interrogations of Crystal Lee Kinney. This piece of whatever it is, this chip of a tooth, this plays into a narrative of the story that they're going to try to sell to a jury. So this is not only, we wouldn't be having this conversation about consumptive testing had that been a complete tooth. Had it been a complete tooth, there would have been no problem with splitting that tooth in half and saving some, and they would have already tested this evidence. But because it was a chip, because it was a piece, because it was a very small fragment of what is believed to be a tooth, the consumptive testing is what comes into play. Now, this is the kicker. This plays into the narrative that Crystal Lee Kinney has been telling them all along. Remember? She said, Patrick told me to check close to the vent because he thought there was a tooth that came out when he hit her with the bat. This is the story she tells. And they don't find any teeth. They don't talk about where the tooth is. They don't talk about did you find that piece of, yes, what'd you do with it? I think she said, I don't remember. Exactly. So listen to this. Listen. What if this is the elaborate plan formulated all along? Tell them about the chip. That way, it's in the narrative. Then, when we go out on the 21st to Patrick's house, we'll find the chip, the smoking gun, the knife, whatever, right? We'll find the piece of evidence that you told us about that he said was next to the vent. We'll find that. We can't find... Listen. You think I'm playing? You think this is a joke? This is real life. This is played out right in front of me. Played out in front of me in court. Played out in front of me. Listen, KK said, he told me there was a chip of a tooth, or a tooth that chipped off. Why? Where did this detail come from? Why? Make sure you get the tooth. All of a sudden, all the way back around to the consumptive testing, we find out yesterday, the chip, the tooth, the possible tooth. If you ask me and I'm the defense, and that chip of tooth turns out to be Kelsey's chip of a tooth, if I'm the defense, as soon as KK takes the stand, You told them where the tooth was. You told them where this was. You told them where this was. You told them where this was. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't know what happened. And my client says remains his innocence. Here's his alibi. But this woman knew everything about this case. That's reasonable doubt, reasonable suspicion, reasonable jealous girlfriend, reasonable jealous ex-lover who admittedly came down 3 or 4 times to help kill Kelsey. She's the one who did it. She's the one who did it. They tell this elaborate story of a chipped tooth and phone pings and this, that, and the other. The only one telling lies here is her. If they start playing each other against each other, it is reasonable doubt. My buddy sat right here yesterday. He was just on a jury in Teller County. Let me tell you something. 90% of the people behind bars have never sat in front of a jury. They pled a deal. They pled a deal. 90% of the people in the U.S. who sit in the prison system today pled a deal to get there. They didn't exercise their constitutional right to a trial. When you get in front of a jury, all you need is 1 to screw this up. All you need is 2 to screw this up. You can't get 3 people to agree on where to go to dinner. When you put 12 people in a jury box and if I was the defense attorney, I don't have a law degree. I just have a little bit of logic and I said, wait a minute, this woman admits to coming down. This woman told them where the chipped tooth was. This woman kept her mouth shut. She told people. She did interviews. She lied. She did these things. What the hell? Why are we not trying this woman? This is what's going to be going on in the jury's head. This is what's going to be going on in the jury's head. You start talking about, she told them about the dump. Why didn't they find the body at the dump if that's where it was? Distractions, deception, division. All they have to do is bring all this little stuff up. And all of a sudden, a jury starts thinking, man, what if he's innocent? What if he's innocent? What if all she's telling is a parade full of lies? What are you doing?
I had to come home.
What, are they done? They playing? You better give me a thumbs up if I'm going to keep going. They always try to get me, but I'm always back. I'm just kidding. My phone died. Y'all hit share, like. People will be back to watch. They will think it got interrupted. They will think we were done, but we were just getting started. So, hit a thumbs up, hit a like. People get notifications. Back in town. Oh, too funny. My phone died. I thought I plugged it in. You guys were here. So, we just faked a little... Faked it. Faked it. What we were talking about when we got cut off. We were talking about consumptive testing, tooth, mastermind plan, the turning of the jurors. My buddy was just here and he just sat on a jury in Teller County. And they found the guy innocent. And it was because of the lies of a woman. It was the lies of a woman that put a man in court that was fighting for his life in prison, fighting for his life in jail. Last time you got kicked off. They kicked me off when you came on. So you got to be very careful nowadays because they're turning off comments with any videos on YouTube with children in them. And so a lot of times if Ella gets jumped in, this video could get flagged and they will turn off the live chats and the live comments. And so I have to be careful now. It's YouTube has turned into a craziness world, and so I think it's a very good possibility that they will find him guilty, Janice. The problem is like I'm sitting in there, and like shit doesn't make sense to me. Like the things that they're arguing over. I mean, to let's be honest, the defense is a distract. It's a deceive. They want to try to distract, deceive, and confuse what the people, that's what they call them, the state, the people. They want to confuse the people. But it is on the burden of proof lies on the state. And let's talk about what we know for facts. According to the Woodland Park PD, according to Woodland Park PD, they have found zero remains of Kelsey Barrett. This little fragment of a tooth very possibly belongs to a horse. It belongs to someone else. This little fragment. Wait a minute. You're telling me Woodland Park PD misses blood in the apartment. They miss all these things that we know they miss, but then all of a sudden they if Dan May, well, first of all, Dan May will not be he will not be speaking in court. Dan May is done in court. Dan May is the head district attorney. That white hair blonde lady, I can't remember her name. She's like, my wife calls her like
No,
Miss
stop.
Miss Super Smiley. She's always smiling. She gave a big smile to my wife yesterday, and I was like, she smiled at me when she kind of laughed about my. She's gonna be the one that's actually in court. Dan May's done. Dan May doesn't go to court. He goes to court, but he ain't gonna be talking in court. But let me tell you, it's not the defense who screwed any of this up. The defense is doing whatever they can, right? They're trying to get whatever they can. They're testing. They're testing stuff that they don't even know what it is. They don't even know if it's a tooth. But anyway, if this turns out to be Kelsey, the defense will spin it. This is a plant from KK. She's trying to frame our client. She was on the property. She got herself on the property. She mentioned this fragment of a tooth first. Whatever it was. I think Patrick is as guilty as sin. I think he played a perfect murder. I think they planned a perfect murder with the help of a homicide detective out of Colorado Springs. I think they planned everything up until she got caught, but then if you do get caught, this is the story you will tell. They will give you a deal before you say a word if you say these certain things. I think they planned this thing. They have controlled the investigation the entire time. Make no mistake about it. When I say they, I mean this investigation has been controlled by Crystal Lee Kinney from the start. They spent $100,000 plus, maybe estimates of $250,000 to search the dump. They are arguing over distractions of something that could possibly be a tooth, maybe a tooth, maybe not a tooth, maybe Kelsey's, maybe not Kelsey's. This investigation has been completely controlled by the testimony of Crystal Lee Kinney. I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope to God I'm ignorant. I hope to God I'm just a dad with a phone making a hypothetical. I hope they have a smoking gun. But you know what? They ain't going after the death penalty. They've made it pretty damn clear that they are, for all intents and purposes, they have 90 days to file for the death penalty after Patrick Frazee pled not guilty, and they haven't done it. They haven't done it. Let's talk about change of venue. You're not ignorant. What a... Yes, Sean is a homicide detective. Sean is on the violent crimes unit out of the Sand Creek station in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Yeah, Colorado is not necessarily the big death penalty state. So they're not going after the death penalty. This thing's probably not going to become a capital case. Too many eyes. Too many people watching. Too many people watching. It's harder. It's harder to convict on a capital case. Just the statistics say that. And now the statistics, when you talk statistics and you start talking about convicted murderers without bodies, convicted murderers without murder weapons, convicted murderers on different things. So I want to go down a road that most people haven't gone down yet. And this could be the smoking gun, literally. Just because the evidence they presented at the pretrial, the narrative that KK tells, just because she tells this story, I want you to understand Greg Slater, and I've spoken with Greg Slater. I've talked to him on the phone. Greg Slater says her story doesn't make sense. It's not logical nor linear. We got this story over a bunch of pieces of interviews. We've pieced it together with pings, all this stuff. This is her story. This isn't the story we are saying is the truth. This is a witness's story to this crime. What they are not telling us is what they think happened. They are not telling us they believe the story of a woman beaten with a bat. They are not telling us that we believe this story. They could very possibly show up with a gun that's missing a bullet and say, we don't believe the bat story. We believe Kelsey was murdered with a gun. We believe this is why. This is what we have found. These are the things we know. So don't think because KK has told this story, this could all very well be a distraction in and of itself to keep Patrick, to keep KK, to keep the other people involved in the murder of Kelsey Barrett at a twisted odds. They don't know what's going on. The story we're going to get in court will be much different than the story you and I think we know. Every time the newspaper writes an article about this, they write, Patrick is believed to have beat his wife or his fiance with a bat to death. Patrick has done this. Police believe this. Police have not said that. You have to understand that the narrative we have about this case is very limited in what actual information we've been given about this case. I remember when I called this thing a homicide investigation from very start because I had information coming to me from inside the county. People scoffed at me, called me a liar, called me all these things. All of a sudden it's a homicide case and people are like, oh, yep, we knew it was a homicide case and this is how they did it. So don't believe the speculation of what KK has said. That doesn't mean police believe that shit. It doesn't. And don't think that I think that they believe that shit. They're ignorant to a lot of things. They were incompetent to a lot of things along the way. But if they believe KK's story, then by God, we got a bigger problem. Because that girl's been lying from the start. She's been ruling this investigation. Go search the dump. That's where he put her. So what'd they do? Spent $250,000 on a dump search. They had to borrow $80,000 from the city of Woodland Park. I think KK and Patrick should be on the hook for that money. And whoever else conspired. But this idea that we think we know what happened is just that. So if you're watching this video and you're like, you're full of shit, I probably am full of shit. But I've just been watching this from day 5. I've just been going to this thing since day 5. You guys have all been watching on the internet. Not all of you. Some of you have been coming to the court cases. Some of you, you're following online. But people thought even yesterday, to this day, people are like, they didn't find that chip out at Patrick's house. I'm like, yes, they did. And I was talking to somebody in message, and they're like, they didn't find that chip out at Patrick's house. They found that at Kelsey's house. I was like, no, they didn't. They're like, yo, you don't know what you're talking about. I was sitting in front of the DA when the DA explained it to the media 3 or 4 times. This chip of tooth was found out at Omar Frazee's house. This chip of something that may not even be a tooth. That's the thing. They keep saying the chip of the tooth. I keep saying the chip of the tooth. But the DA said possible tooth. Chip of a it could be a freaking deer bone for all we know. It could be a chip of whatever. And we're calling it a chip of a tooth because KK, Patrick, Sean, Omar, whoever else is involved. And I can say these names because Sean Frazee was with Patrick Frazee on Thanksgiving Day. That's a fact. Sean Frazee was with Patrick Frazee when they finally gave over the phone on December 4th. On December 4th. Omar Frazee, when asked to testify, said, I'll only testify if you give me immunity. That's a fact. KK says she came down here to kill Kelsey 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden Kelsey ends up missing. That's a fact. And the fact is, Patrick Frazee has said very little that may be used against him. That doesn't mean he hasn't lied. That doesn't mean he hasn't said anything. They have a 15-minute conversation recorded with the Woodland Park PD with Patrick. The problem is they may not be able to use that conversation in court against Patrick. He had not been Mirandized. He had not been given, he had not been, so you have to understand. Now, Colorado is a one-party state, which means only one party has to know that a conversation is being recorded. So they may be able to use that recording against him. These are the mixed things that people may or may not understand about this case. Patrick has said very little that could be used against him. Going to an attorney when your fiance comes up missing or she is believed to be murdered is actually a very smart thing to do. To go see an attorney, and then when the attorney says you don't say a word to anyone, don't talk to the cops, don't talk to the press, don't say. We cannot use Patrick's constitutional rights against him. Do I think that sumbitch is guilty? Please believe me when I say this. I think this is a masterminded plan by the crazy Frazees, and they brought KK in as the patsy to tell the story, and she got a $150,000 an hour lawyer or something and pulled this shit out. Don't think the defense doesn't have these conjunctures, these hypotheticals, these stories. We don't know what Patrick has told his lawyer. What if Patrick has told his lawyer, listen, I'm a part of this, but that girl's the one who did it. That girl's the one who's the cause, the mastermind, the planner. Listen, I helped dispose of the body, but she's the one who did it. She's actually, here's how she did it. this is what has happened? What if Patrick has told his attorney, I'm a part of this, but I didn't do this? What if Patrick is telling a story to his attorney and his attorney's like, we can prove this. We can win this. Don't think that this little public defender's office ain't looking for the case of a century. Don't think the public defender ain't already opening up a private practice as soon as this case is over. I successfully defended Patrick Frazee on the murder of Kelsey Bear. Don't you think these political pawns in the public defender's office, the DA's office, the judge's offices, the clerk's office, the sheriff's offices, don't you think these little puppets aren't playing for their own careers? These people are not selfless. They are not public servants. Don't you think every officer that is pulling overtime for the protection duty of Patrick Frazee ain't collecting a little ching on the side? Teller County is the wild effing West. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Teller County is the Wild West, and you're seeing some Wild West go down. My little daughter's watching, so I'm having to censor. How you doing, beautiful? What you up to?
Where's Mom? Cutting the grass where the firewood is.
All right, y'all take off. I'm finishing up this live video. So when we talk about facts and we talk about what they've said and we talk about hypotheticals and we make conjunctures about this case, there are bigger things happening in Teller County. Capital punishment is probably out. They would never, but the juror thing, they would never make me a juror. There would never. I think here's the deal. I'm at a belief right now that I'm on the witness stand because of that drone footage. Because now all of a sudden the chipped tooth, if we found this chipped tooth out there and KK led us to that chipped tooth and you have video of KK on the drone out there teaching them I think a portion of it is games. It's Wild West. I think Teller County could have put me on the witness list just to harass me a little bit, just to give me a little bit of harassment. Do I think they put me on the witness list to actually get on the stand? Absolutely not. Listen, they haven't even contacted the people that were in contact with Patrick the day after this thing happened. I have a conversation with a woman who had Patrick working on her horses 2 days after Thanksgiving. I have a conversation with people who talked to Patrick on the day of Thanksgiving. I have conversations recorded with people who have given me information that they shouldn't have. There's 100 reasons why they could have put me on the witness list. I don't really care. I'll testify. I'll get up there and tell them what I've been doing and why I did it. I live on Kelsey Street. We live on the same street. But it's the same street. It's Fairview. That's the thing. People are like, it's across the highway. It's the same street. Ms. Niggy. Ms. Eisen.
Like this way.
Woodland Park PD plays a vital role in this whole thing. One, because they didn't get ahead of the ball game. They missed it. They really missed it. We can make excuses for them. We can say that they were there on a wellness check. They were there with enough investigating chops to change the password on her Facebook page. They were there with enough investigating chops to get into her emails. Think about it. Think about it. They went in and changed the password on her Facebook, but they didn't see some blood in the bathroom. This is the investigative chops of the Woodland Park PD. They went into the house, changed the password on her computer, but didn't see the blood in the bathroom. They didn't see the writing on the wall. Christopher Adams, in his affidavit, said when he investigated Patrick, he didn't think anything was suspicious because he knew Patrick. That's in the affidavit. Read it for yourself. How are they going to explain that one? How about this, Janice? How about this? I don't believe her body was ever in her apartment. I don't believe the murder took place at the apartment. Crystal Lee Kinney says, I left blood for you. I left these things for you. So the idea of this non-planned activity, the idea that they have this great evidence or this smoking gun, really, really, really don't make no sense to me.
She was happy to have many of it.
We're collecting children now.
Collecting kiddos.
What y'all been saying in chat? Oh, we have 40 viewers and 40 likes. We're going to end right now. Thanks for watching Dad with a Phone. Did I wait. I totally missed something that we didn't talk about. Is this case going to move out of Teller County? I want you to understand how this case can be moved out of Teller County. I don't believe it's going to happen, first of all. I don't think the defense wants it moved out of Teller County. I don't think Patrick wants it moved out of Teller County. I think he wants to be here. Christy got a cuppa chewed up by. So the reason why I don't think they're going to change the venue is because I think they want it here. Now, the question has been asked, the question has been repeatedly asked, when do they have to ask for a change of venue? It was explained to us yesterday from Dan May, the DA. Colorado, it used to be at the motion hearing. So the next August 23rd is a motion hearing. So used to be that when they were going to ask for a change of venue, they would ask at the motion hearing. But the Colorado law says that they can actually ask of a venue if they can't come up with a jury, which means they can wait until they get to the jury selection process and they determine that we can't get a suitable jury, a fair jury, a jury of Patrick's peers in this area that don't know and they know too much about this case or whatever. They can actually ask for a change of venue at that point, which would then delay. And so, August hearing, would the consumptive evidence be back yet? Yes, I would think the consumptive evidence would be back by the August hearing, but we probably won't hear about the consumptive evidence. Do you understand? The August hearing is a motion hearing now. This is when the defense will put in all the motions. They want a motion for this. They want a motion for this. They want a motion for this. Yeah, they can do, according to Colorado law, according to Dan May at the press conference yesterday, that the precedent now is more prominent, more common for that change of venue that motion for change of venue actually to come after they can't get a jury. So if they try to go through all up to the trial in October and they can't get a jury here, they can then ask for the change of. Well, don't listen, Rose. Don't listen to my video. Go find the news videos that got all the microphones and shit. Most of the footage I'm taking, I'm not even taking for the live video. It's because no one else is doing it. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna plug a wireless mic into my phone next time and see if I can make that happen, where we get good audio at the press conference. I'm just too lazy. I don't really need the audio because I can go get the audio from the news stations later. But they can, just according to Dan May at the press conference, according to my understanding, according to everyone else's understanding, they basically have said you can change the venue all the way up and after we determine we can't find a jury here in Woodland Park, and so, or not Woodland Park, but Teller County. The idea that they're going, so my buddy I just had a conversation with him yesterday. He just sat on a jury in Teller County, and they had about 40 people there for that case. And they have a thing here for some cases you can have only 6 jurors. You can have a juror of 6 or 12. But he sat on a jury. It was a small case, but yes. Now, if for some reason in the next 90 days, or less than that actually, if for some reason in the next 90 days this thing changes to a capital case, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to trial for 2 to 3 years. The chances that we go to trial in October, even though all the things they've said about, yes, it looks, it plants, the news keeps asking about this. If this thing goes to trial in October, I will be dumbfounded. I will be blown away that it happened that quickly. I just don't see that happening. So, again, I'm just a dad with a phone, just observing this firsthand. I ain't watching this on the end. People keep asking me, they're like, why haven't you watched this guy's update? Or have you seen what this guy said about this? Or have you seen this? I don't really care about the internet's ideas on what's happening in this case because I'm watching it fold live in front of me. I'm not watching Netflix about it. I'm not listening. Yesterday was one of the first days that I sat back and listened more intently because all of a sudden the sound system in Teller County worked. Again, mad props, Teller County. Patrick Frazee got a 1904 courthouse updated. That shit is fact. They could have put a new sound system in that courthouse 50 years ago for all intents and purposes. Patrick Frazee. The Patrick Frazee Kelsey Barrett murder case got Teller County to update the sound system in their 1904 courthouse. You think they're going to change venue now? Shit. They're talking. I saw Dan May. What? Believe me or not. Believe me or not. I was in the courtroom and I saw Dan May pointing out where he wants the cameras at. Now, Dan, if you watch this shit, call me. This is what I do for a living. I can tell you where to put those cameras. I've been telling you to put a sound system in that place since the day I stepped into it. You probably overpaid. But Dan May, no shit, was pointing out where he wants the cameras at in the courtroom. So when you ask me about change of venue, I don't think so. I think they're about to take control of this thing 100% to who gets to see the footage. Guess what happens after the fact? Hashtag public records request for discovery. Boom. Change, baby. It's going to cost some change to get that discovery because you're going to want all the videos from the courtroom. They're about to install. Mark my words that if we go to court, if we go to trial in Cripple Creek, Colorado, the 1904 courthouse will have a brand new camera system installed before we go to trial. Take that one. Can we put some odds on that in Vegas? In Cripple Creek. Can we play that? Cripple Creek. Y'all want to run the odds on whether or not 1904 courthouse in Cripple Creek gets an upgrade before trial? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Oh, let me think. Let me make sure. Consumptive testing we've talked about. Change of venue we've talked about. Capital murder case, capital death penalty case we've talked about. The one thing I found interesting yesterday that we haven't talked about for just a short brief is they blocked off more sidewalk, and the rumor is they're going to be bringing in pipe and drape to protect Patrick's entrance into the courthouse. We may not be able to see Patrick exit the vehicle anymore. They are going to supposedly bring in some pipe and drape like they would for a president, and they're going to block off the sight lines for they're going to block off the sight lines so that you can't see Patrick enter the courthouse. We have been given that. We've been going for an hour with a little bitty break in between. Thanks for watching Dad with a Phone. This has been kind of a quick update of what happened this week. It's not an in-detailed update. We speak some speculation. If you've just joined us, go back and watch this video. Hit like, subscribe. YouTube, get your shit together. Why is he so special? We could speculate about that. I could tell you that he may have been involved in more murder cases in Teller County. I can tell you that there's a mother who believes him and his brother have something to do with the murder of her daughter. I believe he knows information on the Woodland Park PD, Teller County police officers, and Teller County Sheriff's Office. I do believe Patrick Frazee's... Oh, there goes some electric bikes. I love it. I love it! Rad power bikes going up the hill. So that's what I believe. I believe that. I believe that there is a possibility that he's going to be acquitted. I believe he's guilty as sin. I believe he's as guilty as KK, and I believe there are 2 or 3 others that are as guilty as him, and they haven't brought them in. Bunch of rad power bikes going up. Who are these people? I wonder if those are rentals. I was just talking about doing rentals in Woodland Park. I just saw like 15 power bikes go up my road here. I like that. Uh-oh, what happened?
That's not me.
I know, what happened? Who's with her? Isley? What happened? What did Ella do?